call it to order our meeting of February 14, 2019. I'm not going to ask for approval since we don't have a quorum here.
I think we need to dial in, actually.
Did anyone ask to dial in?
Yeah.
Who has?
Larry.
Larry?
Okay.
Okay.
We still wouldn't have it, so, but anyone has any,
One adjustment to the minutes.
sure.
Since you just said he spoke out of school, he had to be here at the last meeting, so we need to put him down as an attendee, as a concerned citizen for last month's meeting.
Okay. Yes. Thank you.
Title and everything, wow.
Yeah, concerned citizen.
Did you sign the...
He probably
The
forgot to
sign-in
sign that.
sheet?
That's probably why they didn't have you. You
Okay.
probably forgot to sign the sign-in sheet last month.
Okay,
That's why we got to do it right away.
Yeah, I did it right away, sorry.
Okay,
Okay,
let's,
I'll add that.
thank you. And also, Larry wanted to make a point that he was on the phone last time. Do I have to downline first? We'll find out.
Welcome. This service is provided by freeconferencecall.com. Please enter your access. If you are the host, press star now. Otherwise, please wait and please enter your PIN followed by the pound or hash. If you do not know your PIN, please enter pound or hash. Please announce yourself.
You can put hash in.
It's
Not even legal.
LIRRCC.
Not even legal yet. I'm ready to do it.
Please enter your PIN followed by the pound or hash. If you do not know your PIN, thank you.
Everybody there?
Hello?
Hey, there's Larry.
Hello, Larry.
Lawrence, are you there? Hello?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, good. Anybody else going to be calling in?
No.
Okay. All right, so I think everyone has gotten my the chair's report. Anybody have any questions on it? No? Okay, next. Staff report. You want to go through something quickly since we have a lot of people here and
Sure.
some people want to get out?
Thank you very much.
Most of us don't.
I just, what did I do with it? Here it is. To find it. Why don't you continue and I will find it. Cause I
Okay,
have
just the usual members in the community. Anything in your community we should know about? In the Rock?
Just the people have been locked out of the train stations.
About that?
Train
Waiting room,
station.
you mean?
Yeah, waiting room, because it seems to be closing up around earlier then, about 10 o'clock at night, rainy night, icy night. People are outside. And at that point, Dunkin' Donuts is closed and the bagel shop is closed.
So you're saying it's been closing earlier than usual?
Well, it used
Or
to
is
be 7. It used to be 7. And I'm not sure what it is now, but because people used to go into Village Taxi.
Okay.
Village Taxi has now got their back up against the wall, and Village Taxi will no longer let commuters stand inside the office.
Which station is it?
Ronkonkoma.
Ronkonkoma.
We asked for posting all the new hours, so
But-
hopefully we should have gotten it by now. We
Okay,
haven't.
what are the new hours?
That's what I said, we've asked them to give us every station's hours, so we haven't gotten it yet, but we did ask.
I'm the
for it.
big advocate for keeping the houses open.
Yes. So we did
What
get a
good is it
copy
if it's
of,
closed?
absolutely, we did get a copy. Hector sent us an email for just one station.
Well, that's because
as
I
a
was there
prototype.
last night,
Yeah.
and they put up there because I was there, so they
Yes.
put up before I got up there.
Okay.
But then that was a 5 o'clock, that station, which used to
5
be
o'clock
at
closing?
White Edge, which used to be.
I mean, do you
used to be-
realize-
It used to be 24 hours.
But you realize a 5 o'clock closing at Wyandotte
I know, this is all.
does not accommodate anybody even going into the city, because the first train out of Ronkonkoma is at 4:45, or the last one.
Because I mean, that's just even coming back, people coming 6 o'clock. We're gonna have, that's why we're asking for the hours. We're gonna go through another fight again. There are some stations that are having, as you know, the issue, but severe problems with homeless. I just don't know how they handle the problem. They have to handle it some way.
They need to call the outreach people.
That's what we're discussing.
And the other
with
thing
them,
is,
but
I have to tell you, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, nobody homeless has ever hurt me. And I don't think anybody spends any more time in these houses than I do.
There have been some instances. So I'm just saying, I'm not
Yeah, but there's
just saying
also
that-
instances
so
where
we
the
have-
general public has hurt people.
I'm just, my point is something that
Yeah.
we have to go down that road, but we have to listen to their side of it as well. We have to work with the towns and the railroad. All of
It's
them.
crazy, it's
So
really.
we will, but we have to get the hours first.
Yeah.
Before we do that, because 5 o'clock, first time I found out 5 o'clock was yesterday when I had to
That's your
post.
station, right?
Right, so it used to be 24 hours. So if the new station is new, they probably don't want to open, right? But I've been asking for the hours forever. So yesterday was the customer, meet the customer thing at that station, so all of a sudden, it's a temporary one that they put up. It's at 5 o'clock, it's the first time I've ever heard of that. On the weekends, it's 2 o'clock.
In the morning or in
No,
the afternoon?
Afternoon.
Oh,
That's
that's
what they put up.
ridiculous.
Oh, yeah,
So-
that's patch on.
So we have a lot to do on that issue once we get all the times. But
See, I don't come around to the meetings to bug people on that and the.
you don't need to be in a bug, 'cause you can bug us from anywhere, right?
The stations close up.
And the one thing we should check while we're doing that, I don't know if is the upstairs waiting rooms. You know, because when we say waiting rooms, they're automatically gonna give us the hours for where they sell the tickets. But like you have the upstairs on the platforms,
some of the
sometimes
stations.
those get locked. And I mean, it's freezing out and you go and you can't get in there. It's,
Matt, anything in your community?
Nothing really. Basically, everyone's complaining the same thing about trying to get Farley on the city ticket program.
Okay, Jerry?
actually, it's not a patch hog issue, it's on the other end, Hunters Point Avenue. They have the little waiting cubbies, there's no heat at all. And some of those days when it was, 18 degrees and the wind blowing, it's cold in there.
They're not, they're open too, right?
They're
not
open
even-
they're open on each end, yeah,
Yeah.
there's no doors.
Right.
They're open on each end, they have the little glass, the windbreak, but I mean, no heat at all.
You know,
I mean,
I've said this before, I'll say it again. I think that we have trouble with this because most of the people that are in the decision-making position are driving. So they get off their train, they get in the car, and they go away. And then many of them are not in a position where they really need to use these. I was in Huntington a couple of years ago, and there was some police that actually used their keys to get inside the Huntington station, and they waited inside while the rest of us waited outside.
Anything in your community? Did you
No.
talk to people?
She's got the L train.
Yeah, but I'm saying here, anybody else that maybe
That
you've heard from?
Nope.
Yours?
So, I mean, I live across the street from the Long Island City stop on the railroad, and the same issues continue there with, there could be more service. I see people get off in the morning and walk to work, which is great, and then there's 5 trains in and 5 trains out. But there are only, the trains, they can't turn off the locomotives because they don't know that they can start them again. So they can't run any more trains in per the agreement that they have with the city, so, with the community. But now that Amazon has pulled out,
Yeah, Amazon.
that will certainly have an effect on, the downside of that is that we were calling for investment, transit infrastructure investment, directly related to,
That was on my list.
to that. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine.
So, we're going to continue to call for investment, so maybe now we have a little more time to come up with what those lists, what those investments are.
We shouldn't back off on that because, I mean, they're like building a minor, small city out in Long Island City. You see all those new buildings and stuff going up. So, I mean, even without Amazon,
Yep.
it's a growing area.
We've been pushing it for a while, and their answer is always, well, at this point, it's close enough. That's been their
Well,
answer.
but Phil has said that he would like to make that more of a regular stop, but I think, the 20-year needs will eventually come out. And no time today or tomorrow, but it will eventually come out, and that's a good opportunity to, to at least make those needs heard. Sunnyside is, something else that's resurfaced, but.
Was there a meeting recently about that? Sunnyside?
There,
This is the Calvin
Was that on
Maloney
Monday,
was
or-
making a whole media thing
Oh,
about
okay.
that
Right.
railroad promised to build a station in Sunnyside. He still wants to see that going forward.
I just want to talk a little bit about last night when I went to the event, Lion Dance. I was hoping that someone would be here from, maybe, well, Larry, you can tell us a little bit about the Hicksville one when I'm finished, okay? Larry? Larry?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. I just have my phone on mute.
Okay. Okay, when I'm done with last night's, we'll get your thoughts on the Hicksville event. There was about,
Brian was there also.
I know, but Brian's not here right now, but let me do mine first, and then I'll turn it over to you. There was about maybe 25 riders there. They acknowledged that I was there when they announced the beginning, but that was it. There was all these references to meeting with riders, doing this and that, and nothing about working with us, which is what we had asked them to do. So I gently hinted a number of times to Hector, and he eventually texted Phil, and Phil halfway through got I could see the text and then mentioned how he's working with the council on some things. But I keep telling him that should be a staple of all of his, every time he goes in, he should be saying that. So that the riders know they have a voice and they're being heard somehow, in some way. So hopefully we can continue to push for that. It's a one-sentence throwaway wherever he is, whether it's the board, wherever he is, that he is working with us on the issues. The meeting was the usual complaints for that area. Everyone actually got up and raved about the new waiting room, because it's probably the nicest waiting room in the whole system. It really was done very well, because it's in conjunction with the whole redoing of White Edge itself, so it's part of a whole big project. People were very happy with it. I think people in the community were happy with it. Everybody was happy with it. It's the usual, people complaining about parking and fares and all that kind of stuff, which is the usual. I was surprised to see they had Phil and the two top people at the table in the front, Rod Brooks, but I thought it was wrong. They didn't have the line manager, the branch manager wasn't there, which I thought was most important, to have the branch manager at the table. So I told them that's really something they should do. Plus, the promoting of the event, again, was all through alerts, emails. There was nothing else. And I had spoken to them about...
No signage?
No, there was no signage, and there were no announcements. Like, when we have our Meet the Council, we always have with them, they announce it in Penn Station, they announce it in the train. None of that took place, so... I'm not saying it may not have changed the event, but at least it would have gotten more people to come maybe to see it if you just remind them tonight this on the train or in Penn Station.
Even if in passing through they paid attention, oh yeah, and let me stop over.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
They
I
did post it on social media though.
That's what I'm
on
saying.
Twitter.
They did alerts and they did some social media, but they didn't do it.
Yeah.
Where you didn't have to go and see it. I mean, you should just hear it. There should be an announcement in Penn Station, remind anyone who wants it tonight. This
Otherwise
is
you have
Sam
to go
Hicksville.
to it.
Right.
You have to go to it.
And there's so much on social media, you may just go, look, this is why you're sitting here in Penn Station, you have a trapped audience. For the Hicksville event, they should have done it. For this
on the
one,
train.
and they should be around the train. And in Penn Station, that's what they do for our events. They say tonight, the community council, for the whole week leading up to it, they have announcements saying, oh, our event's going to be in Penn. So I again remind them to do that again. I don't understand. But that's something I think is important for all riders to hear, because you don't have to live in White Edge to want to go there. That's station 2 of the event. Right? You
Right.
can be in Deer Park. It can be fun. I mean, there are other people that may want to go. So
Those are two close stations too.
right. Now the Hicksville one wasn't in the waiting room. It was a half a mile away, which I think also caused
Right.
Why?
less people to go. The Houston Community Center that was nearby. But Larry, how was the Hicksville event overall?
All right, Larry?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you.
Unmute.
Yep.
Okay, so Hicksville had there's maybe 30 people there, and as there are probably at least 30 or more people from the railroad, they had a kind of a fair atmosphere going where they had booths or they had displays around the room. Mostly a lot of people just complained about certain trains that they had an issue, but a lot was brought up in regard to asking the president, Mr. Ang, in regard to cleanliness on the trains, in regard to conductors doing their jobs, in regard to a lot of crowded trains where people are complaining that they're paying all this money and they don't get a seat every single day because the train is overcrowded. That was mentioned a number of times. There wasn't any groundbreaking thing. There was a big discussion about parking and the lack of parking, and then I didn't want to say anything, but then I actually brought it up also that in the event of trouble, Nassau County is making this a feeding frenzy, whereas when people go to other stations in the event of a problem where they tell you go to another branch, they're getting their cars ticketed at $130 a pop, and people are not happy about it, and the county is like, oh well. So, he said he was going to reach out to the individual municipalities in the county to see if parking regulations or rules can be relaxed in the event of problems or emergencies. Other than that, there was nothing that was groundbreaking that was being said.
Larry, let me jump in on that, because obviously that's an issue we've been talking about for 5 years on the ticketing. Actually, we did an op-ed on it, if you remember.
Yep.
So it's nothing new. And you can see in my report, I met with the Nassau County Executive, with Laura Curran, and I discussed this with her. So I don't think the county's saying it's not our problem. I think they understand that there's something they need to work on. It's just that it's not just the county, it's the towns that mostly run the parking. So the county is more than, actually, she brought up to me that she wants to work with us on parking because she read our op-ed last year on it. So I don't think that's the case. I do know the railroad is reaching out, but I think that they're getting support from the county. It's a question of the different towns, and there's so many different towns that, who to deal with and who's going to do what is a problem. So yeah, I think it's an issue that's not new, but I think everybody wants to work on it. I just don't know if anybody knows how to handle it, because while it may be nice to say in the event of an emergency you could park in we won't ticket you, but
What constitutes an emergency?
it's when the railroad says like a line is down.
Oh, okay.
But at the same time, I'm not sure there's enough parking at those places to accommodate the people coming either. So it's not just being nice and to the railroad.
Right.
It has to be able to accommodate all those extra people that want to park and where they park. So it's complicated, which is why remember we called for a parking authority to deal with all these little issues. For both counties, because I don't think the railroad can't do it themselves. It's not there. So I agree with you, but I just don't think it was new. One issue that came up, I was a little annoyed that last night. Someone asked about the people smoking the e-cigarettes on the trains, and the conductor's not stopping them, which I haven't seen. And then Phil's answer was, well, our no smoking policy came in before e-cigarettes, which is just not true, because remember, we were the ones, probably the first people in the tri-state area to bring up the issue of e-cigarettes. That was all over. That was all over. That was 8 years ago. We brought them up before it was even well known, and the railroad. It was all in the papers, and news. They could read them all. They said because of our concerns, they went and they issued that e-cigarettes is considered smoking and not allowed. So it was not. It was done. There is a policy. It's been in there for 8 years. It just has to be enforced. And that's something that has to happen. If I haven't seen it happen on the trains, but if it is,
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it either.
I haven't.
But it
seen
Not
wasn't
on the train, I've seen people on the platform.
Right.
Platform.
Well, which is also they can't do it either. But
Yeah.
but it's not not that the policy was predated e-cigarettes. It doesn't. We did a lot of work to get that done. So that's just I had to clear up for out there. We do have to do a meet the council event.
Yes.
So we do have to plan one. I know the railroad is easy to plan it with. We just have to have people who are going to man the booth.
So,
that's
can I
what
just
we'll do.
interject one sec? So I was talking to Hector, pardon me, about when is he going to have the Brooklyn and Queens and Manhattan Meet the President event? So I think they're looking at something at the end of March for Queens. I said, just be sure it's in the station, because it doesn't make sense if it's a half mile away. So, I mean, I know that you have been in conversations with Val, so maybe that's yet another opportunity to bring up,
And
co-hosting it.
they have the room in the station, because the very last one that we did, when Wayne was chair, was downstairs, and it did plenty of room.
Yeah, but
What
it wasn't
station?
well attended because of.
Well, they would have to,
I was there
notice
that
it
last one.
and stuff like
What
that.
station?
It was
Jamaica.
in Jamaica. It was downstairs, and there was plenty of room.
Yeah.
You're talking about where the air train is. That's where it
That's
was.
upstairs.
That's upstairs. This is down below. This was on street
Street
level.
level.
Yep.
We'll see what happens. If it's something that we're actively involved in and our name is on it with them, then we'll put the time and the effort into promoting it. If it's going to be like it was this time around, where it was basically our suggestion and it was done without us, then as a courtesy, I went because I was asked. But that's not something we're going to.
Yeah, but we want to be sure that they don't do it like down the block at York College, because that'd be the same thing what happened at Hicksville the other night. It's a half a mile away from the station.
Just say that might have been a consideration that is not.
All right, but right now our focus really is not that. Our focus is our Meet the Council event, which is always very, very, very successful when we do it. But we do have to have people manning it because we need, I know I'm out there, going to the people.
Right.
And I'm mingling it out there, but when people come to the table, someone's got to be there, to take down the suggestions. So again, we'll throw some dates out, but unless we get people committing to do it, I'm just not going to be the only one there.
And do you want to do that here, or do you want to do that in on
No, we do right in Penn
Yeah.
Station. That's what we
Great.
get.
We haven't done one for a year or so, so I
Right,
mean,
and
we're about
then,
due for another one.
and then the next one will be, we were talking about in Brooklyn, but since we haven't done one here in a
Right.
while, we've got to go back to our roots, which is where we get
We
the
had done
best.
one run there, and then we had done one out
Right.
here.
Yeah.
Right, and they're
very busy.
they're very successful, we get tons of
Especially out here,
people.
because they're waiting under
Sure.
that headboard,
Yep.
waiting for their
But I think
train.
that we need to update our brochure
oh,
before we
we
have it.
certainly do.
Before we have it, because
Yeah.
we did give them out, but they're, right now probably still have Madison Avenue probably on them.
But the other thing that, what we gave some out at a TRC event, and there's a TRC email address that doesn't exist. So, and it also is, it's time for a refresh, I
Yeah,
think, on a
yes,
lot,
so-
on everything that we do.
so-
So that's absolutely, all the lit is stuff that we're looking at. But if you want to talk about some dates, certainly not a Friday in summer, because you're never going to get the
No,
regular
no,
riders,
no.
but,
But they'll all be going out.
yeah.
No, I figure we'll probably do something towards the end of April, so I'm guessing, if we can get all
Just
this other
so
stuff
you-
up. If people are willing to commit to working
May
it.
22nd, I'm having knee surgery. As long as it's on May
So we
22nd.
can do it on the 26th, you say.
Sure, because
21st.
then I get to put my leg up.
Okay, so that's that. Yeah, as far as the vacancies, it's been a very up and down as to how many we have. Again, I did meet with County Executive Nassau about it. They're now on top of it. They're now, didn't really, I think, how it all worked. I mean, Helena knew, but I don't think she ever discussed it, because Helena came into the meeting with us. She's now the Deputy County Executive.
Right,
I
right.
think that, it seemed that they had never discussed these things, so I think that now there's more of the loop, and I think she was asking us a lot of questions about it and how it works, and so I think that they're now actively looking. I think they're willing to take our input. I know I did bump into one of the kind of legislators out there for the Washington line, which is what Owen was, and I want to have again. She apparently has set the name to the county executive for that role. I don't know who it is. So I think it's moving along, but I really think we need someone on that line. That's the only line that doesn't go through Jamaica. We need to have somebody on this council to speak for that. Although if people in my office are on the line, I hear it all the time, but it's good for the council to hear the things on that line.
Especially because PTC that's where they're doing the testing, so that's where there'll be any of the delays at first, right?
It is
And
a fairly
I
well-traveled
did
line,
speak
too.
Oh, yeah.
to, I did speak to the Suffolk County executive again. I saw him last week, and he's prepared to, he wants us to send him some names that we've vetted. So, well, if anybody knows anybody, please get them our information to them so they get to us, and let's move on getting those done. Queens.
Matt's name is up there.
My-
We'll see what
my
happens.
name
Right,
was
right,
sent
so we'll see that, and then we just have Brooklyn, which has always been a situation.
I did not go to the meeting yesterday, I was homesick, so, but we can.
I met with
certainly
Eric
follow up.
Adams, and
Yeah.
he's, when I sat there, he was all on board, but nothing's happened, and it's been a long time now, so I don't know if it's just that it's not a priority for them.
They've been having an issue, we're trying to find someone qualified.
Okay, so,
So if I could just clarify, the reason why you haven't seen me is because my classes that I'm teaching I was on the 2:11 train to get in here for this meeting today at 4:30. If we were meeting in our Long Island office,
but we talked about.
I know, but I'm just putting it out there.
Especially with something like on the portion line, that
What?
doesn't go through that area.
What?
Like, when we have a member from Washington, that doesn't go through that.
Oh, no, they'd
that
have to
area.
drive. They'd
You'd have to
to
first go
drive.
home, and then first
Well,
drive out there.
you know what I mean?
But we're commuters.
Oh,
so-
but I
so.
mean, it would be, everybody has to make an accommodation somewhere.
But,
Okay,
well,
and I
we'll
make
talk,
it-
we could talk off,
No, but I mean-
off
Okay,
the
but I'm
camera and
just, all
something
right,
about
but
that.
just so people know, it's just not a matter of me not coming.
Okay.
Like right now, I've got Monday, Wednesday classes at 8 o'clock, so it's not a problem.
Right.
And
Okay,
that's
well,
why.
we're just talking about how
Oh.
many we have, we're trying to figure out, because we really want to have riders, we don't want to have people appointed by elected officials who are
I get that.
political
Yes, yes.
people.
Oh, absolutely.
So we want to make sure we have.
No, I
we
just
have
didn't know whether or
riders.
not I was accommodating the needs.
No, I'm just
And
bringing
if
up,
not,
I'm just
I
going through what's our
understand.
new businesses, that's why I'm just going through the list here. And the new members is the same, I guess the same kind of issue. The old business, the posters.
Right.
Is it still on, do they have it? Remember last time, a question, if he said he didn't get it, but he
So
said it was
the
sent?
question is, whether it's gonna be the full-size posters or the electronic flashing posters. So I need to follow up with Hector on that one. 'cause that's
Electronic
a-
flashing.
What are the-
Yeah, they have
The ones we
the
used to have,
e-boards,
and
Yeah.
the
the LED boards,
Years ago.
bulletin boards instead of an
It's in there,
actual poster
so-
No.
Okay.
that they were
Get new ones
putting
up.
up. So I'm not sure where we left that, because that was, we talked about that. Well, we follow up with Hector and find out what format they needed it in, because I think that that was where we left it. So remember, that's where we, what was it going to be, electronic or printed? Because we have them.
Or both.
Or
There's
both,
some stations
right.
that really should
Some
have.
stations don't have the capability
Right.
for electronic.
Yeah.
Excuse
All
me.
right, I will have that. I'll update you on
Okay, we
that.
got the response to our letter on cameras. He gave it to me last night, and then he emailed it to me again today. It really didn't give us much of a response, so I think we'll have to read it carefully. And other than
What
saying,
cameras?
We
I
brought
used to
some-
letter back in April. The
They're
cameras are
doing-
on the trains.
Right.
Now, there are tons of
Yeah.
cameras on the trains. I asked it's the questions about them. And it's back
Has
in
anybody
April.
complained about them?
Social media is constant complaints.
Here's,
They want to
uh,
know their privacy. They want to know.
Yeah.
So
No,
a lot of
yeah,
these-
that's why I
we had
asked.
sent it back then, but
So here's the letter that we sent, and here's the response that,
so we'll have to go through it carefully. No, I know I have. No, I have.
there's,
Yeah.
That went?
I think I emailed
Yeah,
it to you.
yeah.
oh, and these are the,
You do have it, I emailed
the-
it.
There are no hidden cameras.
Yeah, I saw it last night. It was just,
Yeah.
it was put up there. I mean, I told him it was fine for now because that's all I was asking for.
and then this is the
And
overpass.
someone there actually asked what the hours were, so it wasn't just us. It was someone, one of the questions
Right.
that someone asked was that.
But it's embarrassing to put up a sign that says we close at 2 o'clock.
Well, not to them, clearly, they're not embarrassed.
No, but I'm
Or
telling-
on weekdays at 5 PM.
That's ridiculous.
So this is all.
Rush hour is
this
not
this
even-
is the spike. I
Yeah.
mean, why the reason they forced us to post it, because they didn't want people to know it. So that's, yeah, so once we get all the stations, we're gonna have to go through all of it station by station, and it's gonna be a long discussion. It's gonna be, we know what their answers are gonna be, and we're gonna have to sit down and talk about it. We got that. And the AB track signage, they say they're working on something.
Right.
We'll see what they work on, because they have it on both ends of the station. Now they have a double track, people don't always know,
Right, which way to go?
because
Seen
it's
it.
just, they don't, no, they say, the next train to New York is on track A.
What day?
I'm just asking to put where
Right,
track A
that's
is.
the question,
Yeah.
right.
That's all it is,
Yeah.
and they put them on both ends of the stations, but nobody goes, because they're
Yeah.
on the far ends.
Yeah.
So I just want to put where the overpass, where you walk over is just saying, so if for some reason they're not doing it, they want to do something else, I don't know what it is. There's a sign there that says, on the tracks, it says Manhattan, an hour this way.
Yeah.
But that doesn't tell you which track it comes on.
So this looks like the schematic for how they're gonna do it, but that's really complicated.
All we need
All
to
you
do,
need
what,
is a
I said,
sign.
they take the same sign you already have at the far end and just put it in the middle. That's all I asked for. So, I just, everything seems to be more complicated than it needs to be. Even that, they were like, we'll get a permanent, I was okay with that.
Yeah, just
it
put something in
gives
the window.
information.
Take
It's in,
it
pl- it's more, it's
Sharpie.
in plastic, not paper, it's in plastic on it.
Yeah.
Which I know in this gorgeous reading room, it's not what they want, but at least it's the information that matters. And not using on the door so you can see it on the outside, that's the purpose of seeing it. So as long as it's there now and it got there by last night, there was a complaint from somebody that in order to get into the meeting, you had to go through security and the machines.
Oh, yeah.
And, no, someone complained that this is supposed to be an open meeting, why should I have to do that?
Because,
Same as the fair hearings.
Yeah, so-
Isn't that for
Right.
safety reasons?
yeah.
Right, but, but if somebody's just like coming in to their, with a knife from, if somebody has a hunting knife or, works with a knife, then do they get tackled?
There was a lot of police there last night. More police probably than people there.
Well, there always is. It's
So that's what that was. We had something on the record. What else do we have on the record? What we discussed earlier today.
for the stuff on the record.
Yeah.
I think we've covered what was on the record. I think.
I have just a couple brief things to say in the staff
And
report. Are
then
you ready
we
for that?
discussed some of the stuff with it.
Yeah,
So, I just actually came from a meeting with Senator Hoylman, who is one of the Senate Democrats. The Senate Dems are doing hearings starting Tuesday on the MTA. It's called The Effectiveness of New York's Transit Networks. They have one in New York City on Tuesday. They're looking at one on Long Island. Now, the tentative date is March 8th. Oh, I'm sorry, March 1st. and the Hudson Valley, Westchester is March 8th. So March 1st for Long Island, the 8th for Westchester. We'll see what that actually means. And they're also doing one in Syracuse, which, you know, is sort of like, all right, why not Buffalo?
They
may
are
do that
doing
as
one in
well.
Buffalo too.
Yeah. So we're preparing, we've applied to testify on Tuesday, because that's part of the process. We'll deliver.
That's just on transit.
What's that?
That's just on transit.
Yeah, but this is the testimony that we delivered in Albany at the end of January, which we shared. So it'll be similar to this. So I don't know if anybody wants copies of it. But, you know, it's 5 minutes to speak. And so we delivered spoken
You got my
version.
email that I want to testify the Long Island one.
Yeah.
Where was the Long Island one?
Oh, don't know. Don't even know that that's the date yet. But the so they want us to submit testimony, and we'll also deliver speaking testimony, which is shorter. So it can be both. So yeah. So that's a Friday.
Now,
So.
is this separate and distinct from what Senator Kaminsky was
No,
talking about?
it's it.
This is it. This is
it.
what he's
Okay,
talking
this is,
about.
all right.
Right. So I was up in Albany on January 30th. The MTA was on the hot seat for 5 hours, being grilled at the joint budget hearings of the Assembly and the Senate. You may know that the governor's proposal includes, in order to fund the MTA, it's contingent on inclusion of 3 Article 7 provisions. One is the reorganization of the MTA, one is congestion pricing, and the third one is speed cameras and red light cameras. And those all 3 have to be included in what's approved by the legislature in order for the governor to sign off. The meeting that I just had leads me to believe that there's going to have to be some separation of that, because they're nowhere, and April 1st is coming faster than it's been anticipated. But the governor is scheduled either this week or early next week to do his 30-day budget amendment, which he has said will focus on the reorganization of the MTA. So to be continued, we'll see what it says. We just don't know.
I never heard anything about the cameras, the red light cameras.
Because it's not as much of a hot button
Okay.
issue.
Right, and the city.
I mean, really the hot button issue is, why does the state get to tell the city and the counties where they can put them, right? And why is that, you know, that's the issue that we've heard downstate. But the other 2 issues are definitely much more contentious and hot button. So we're keeping our ear at that. We have plans to go to Albany on February 26th, with NIPTA, which is the New York Public Transit Advocacy or Association, thank you, for their legislative day. And we're looking at meetings with some electeds, so if there are any electeds that you would like us to meet with while we're up there, we're making those appointments now. And we are in conversations with a group of advocates, FOT, Friends of Transit, which is probably more focused on congestion pricing right now, but at the bigger picture has a really good outlay of calendar dates related to the budget and to the legislative calendar. So we're keeping an eye on that, and we're not